Hi guys, Chris here, and my video blog this week is all about what's next. And that's a very important question to ask yourself whenever you finish a really big, or finish a really big goal, because if you don't know what's next, you have a real big problem on your hands. And I'll use the obvious analogy for me is that, as many of you know, I finished my Ironman race back at the end of August, which is over a month ago now, and haven't really had a goal since then about what's next, what am I going to do after that. And the problem with that for me specifically there is that whilst I've done a bit of exercise still, kept things ticking over, I haven't really had a purpose, haven't had a goal of, oh, what am I working towards, what am I going to be doing next. And the problem with that is that if I wasn't careful, it'd be very easy to let all of that hard work I've put in over the last couple of years, building up the level of fitness to be able to finish an Ironman, it'd be very easy to just let that slowly drift away to the point where I wasn't really that fit again. And knowing how much it hurt to get there, that would be a real tragedy to let that go. So it's really important in this instance for me to have a new goal. So my goals for next year are twofold. I have two races next year I'm looking to do. So I'm going to be doing another half Ironman in June, and it's one I did this year and it's one I did last year as well. But my aim this year isn't just to finish it, I'm going to knock an hour and a half off my time from this year. So that's a big old chunk of time, and to be fair, most of that will come from the run. A bit of it will come from the bike, possibly a few minutes from the swim, but the big chunk will come from the run. And I already know what I have to do that. Some of it is around obviously running faster, but there's a big old chunk of that is around doing a bit of training, but actually losing a big old chunk of weight as well. Because if I lose a big chunk of weight, it will be a lot easier to run, and hence I'll be able to run a lot faster. So I've suddenly got a goal again. So I think it's either the 4th or 5th of June, it's somewhere around the beginning of June, I have that race. And then the other main race I have for next year that's now a goal is I'm doing a swim run race with my brother up in Scotland at the beginning of October next year. And that isn't just swim then a run, you effectively swim a bit, run a bit, swim a bit, run a bit. It's all in Scotland. It starts from Urquhart Castle on Loch Ness, so the terrain around there is, we say, interesting, and it makes it more interesting in that you run in your wetsuit and you swim in your trainers, so you don't mess around taking them on and off as you go in and out of the water. So there's quite a bit involved there. And just to top that off, there is a total of 8 kilometres of swimming and about 50 kilometres of running. So it's not a simple thing anyway. But I now have two very specific goals that I can work towards for my training for next year. Just as an aside, there's a potential now of looking at doing another Ironman in 2018, but certainly not next year. But I've got those goals, I've got the purpose, I've now got a training program in place that will take me to those two, so I know what to do, and it's suddenly very easy again. And really what I want to tell you all about this isn't about me and you going, oh great, he's doing some other races next year. This is about you and you achieving your goals, because when you achieve a goal, you really do need to have something else to then say, right, I've done that, what's next? What's my next goal? Because without that, you just drift, irrespective of what type of goal it is. With me, in that example I've given you, it's a kind of physical stroke exercise goal. But I've seen people who have had goals to achieve things in their business, and they do amazing things, massively expand their business. And you go back and see them 3 months later, and you say, well, how's it going? Thinking it's going to have gone even bigger. And they've gone backwards massively. They've just stopped doing everything that they were doing to get where they were going, and the reason being is they didn't have a goal. They just allowed themselves to fall back to that drift position. So this is important when you achieve any goal, but it's vitally important when you achieve a big goal, because suddenly you will have a massive vacuum almost in your life around a certain aspect, whether it's business, exercise, whatever else it is. You'll have a huge vacuum if you don't have an extra goal there to then go, right, this is now what I'm going to focus on. And when you have that, you'll just drift, and you run the risk of losing all of that good work and effort you put in to get there. So please do, assuming you have goals already. If you don't, that's probably a subject for another blog. But if you have got goals, once you achieve something, please make sure that part of your kind of post-achievement celebration is a sit down and go, right, what's next? because without it you'll drift, and that would just be a waste. Really interested to hear if you want to tell me what your what nexts are below. Do post below, and I'll be really interested to see what you're challenging yourself to do next. Thanks a lot.